12 and done for the Rebels. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, reviewing all the schedules in the nation and ranking them 70 all the way up to number 1. That's the Power 5 and the major independents. We have reached number 41. It's the 11th most difficult schedule, or the 4th easiest in the SEC. It belongs to the Ole Miss Rebels under second-year head coach Matt Luke. Of course, the Rebels finished 6-6 and did not qualify for a bowl game last year, and will not this year, thanks to the misconduct of one Hugh Freeze, former head coach. So what do the Rebels face? It is the 11th most difficult, 4th easiest in the SEC. Here's why. Number 41 in the nation, Texas Tech is the opener. It's a neutral site game in Houston against a decent Texas Tech team that should be improved on defense, that missed a bowl game last year and will be hard-pressed to make postseason play this year. That's probably one of the top 50 to 60 teams in the nation. That's the difficult non-conference game for Ole Miss. So not much there and not much elsewhere on the non-conference slate, as Ole Miss typically schedules easy, as does Mississippi State and some other teams in the SEC, the ACC, and the Big Ten, and the other power leagues to try to get to postseason play, even if they go 2-6 or 3-5 in the conference. And for Ole Miss, that means 3 of the worst teams in FBS play non-conference. Southern Illinois, Kent State, and Louisiana Monroe all travel to Oxford by October 6th. So they should be able to pad the record, especially if they can win that first game against Texas Tech at home. They do have Alabama and LSU as a difficult 3-week stretch, with Kent State in the middle at the end of September. That's probably the toughest stretch for the Rebels. The distribution is pretty spread out throughout the season. No difficult stretches of killer 3-week stretches throughout the season. All right. It's also coming into play, of course, who the SEC Western Division team has to play out of the East. And for Ole Miss, they typically get a light touch almost all the time against the Vanderbilt Commodores, and excluding those 2 9-4 teams under James Franklin, that's certainly a benefit to Ole Miss's schedule, that they play Vandy every year, this time in Nashville. They also get South Carolina, projected to be the number 2 team in the SEC Eastern Division, possibly the number 3 if Florida jumps up there. So Ole Miss's schedule, considering they play in the toughest division in college football top to bottom, is not very difficult for an SEC schedule, with Vanderbilt and South Carolina in play. Should easily get to 3 wins non-conference, maybe 4 if they can win the game against Texas Tech, in which should be a toss-up game. It's the 11th most difficult schedule in the SEC. It's number 41 in the country as we rank them all, and would love to hear from you and your comments on our schedule rankings right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.